this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your thumbs up, for your comments, and thank you for sharing the videos. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. And today, I want to talk about the difference between pride and desperation. On the screen, you see three men, two Indians and a Black American. From left to right, you have Dinesh DSouza, Reggie Jackson, and Rama Swami. Except for the fact that the one in the middle looks the best, and I'm judging by the way he looked when he was young. That's Reggie Jackson on the left and Jesse Jackson on the right. They were both so handsome, looked so much alike, people thought they were brothers. And rating these men on the human scale, all three look normal. But there's a world of difference between these three men. Reggie Jackson is a retired baseball player. He played Major League Baseball for 20 years. He began his career in Birmingham, Alabama at Rickwood Field in 1969. In Alabama, he experienced some of the worst cases of racism that a human being ought to be subjected to in a so-called civilized society. This man was not breaking the law. He was not bothering anybody. He was not homeless. He was not on drugs. He was none of the stereotypes that people like to pin on black men. He was an up-and-coming baseball player, outstanding athlete, as witnessed by the fact that he went on to Major League Baseball and became an outstanding legend in the sport. He was subjected to hatred that he had not earned, neither did he deserve. But he persevered. He stayed with the game. And the limelight followed him because he was that guy. He had star quality, charisma. He was a powerful hitter and just an outstanding baseball player. But he did have conflicts during his career. And just as there was racism in Birmingham, there was racism in other parts of the country too. He had clashes with his teammates and management. He sparred verbally with the manager, Dick Williams, and got into a brawl with a teammate during a game. But despite these issues, the Oakland A's, with Reggie Jackson, won 3 consecutive championships in 1972, 73, and 74. And you can bet those clashes that he had with those teammates and that manager had something to do with race. Number one, the women, white women now started really chasing the black men. Sorry, but you know how it works. Women show up to the games and they want to be picked. So that's one thing. He was black and he was outperforming the white players. That's two things. But the third thing is, when Jackie Robinson came to Major League Baseball in 1947, 1948, whenever he came, he had to take all of that racist behavior. Those early Major League Baseball players had to take that racist behavior. They were playing like men, but they wanted to treat them like boys. So Reggie Jackson and a few others had to show them that I'm not Jackie Robinson. I don't have to take it. So that was one of the reasons, that was the main reason that he was having problems on the field, but he stood up like a man. There are no allegations of Reggie Jackson abusing women. Now, every time you look around today, these athletes are abusing women. They better not get on the elevator with them, and get some pictures. Somebody you go in looking all right, and you come out all boogered up, as they used to say. But Reggie Jackson didn't have that reputation. He played 20 years, and he was a winner. And the really good thing about him, I checked his net worth. Reggie Jackson has millions. He's still rich. So he didn't throw his money away in strip clubs and baby mamas and jewelry and cars and stuff like that. So he used good judgment. Not only did he have pride in himself as a black man, but he also had courage. He stood up for himself. He did not let them beat him down. You never heard about him falling out in these clubs, drunk or high, or any of that. And when it was time for him to retire, he went on off into the sunset. And you really never heard that much about Reggie Jackson until a few days ago. They had some kind of an anniversary of the players who had played at Rickwood Field in Birmingham. So he came back for like an old timers game. And they were interviewing him. I think it was Alex Rodriguez, and asking him about what it felt like to be back at Rickwood Field. See, they wanted him to give them a feel-good story about how happy he was that he was an American and that he had the honor of playing baseball and blah, 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 blah. But he didn't. He laid it on them. He said it was the worst experience of my life. I wouldn't wish it on anybody. And he went into details about the racism he faced at Rickwood Field. So he let them know it's no honor for me to be back here, because these were some of the worst years of my life, being in this state, in this town, playing at this field. So I like that he spoke and stepped right into his truth and would not give them the feel-good story that they wanted him to give. That's what a man does who has pride and respect for himself. He knew that what was happening to him was because he was a black man in America, and he wasn't trying to be anything else. Now let's look at the desperation between these two men. These two men of Indian descent came to the United States as immigrants. Black Americans haven't done anything to these two men, yet they decided to side with anti-black racism. They have both become mouthpieces for the Republican Party and for the most conservative wing of the Republican Party that spews nothing but anti-black racism over nothing and less than nothing. This one on the left has built a career on trying to demean and degrade black Americans. The one on the right has done it in a more sophisticated manner, but he has assimilated into the rhetoric of the right-wing Republicans, even to the point of referring to people like George Washington and James Madison and John Adams as our founding fathers, when neither he nor anybody in his family was anywhere near this country when this country was formed. But that's how delusional he is, and that's how desperate he is. Dinesh DSouza's anti-black racism seems to be rooted in his efforts to succeed within a right-wing environment that is both anti-Indian and anti-black. So he's against his own people. Interestingly, DSouza's racist views have persisted since his undergraduate days in the early 1980s, and this is from Microsoft Bing's AI. DSouza's racism can be understood as part of his long-standing effort to succeed in a conservative environment that may view his Mumbai-born immigrant background as potentially embarrassing. By emphasizing anti-black racism, he may compensate for any perceived vulnerability related to his own ethnicity. I believe that's exactly what he's doing. Dinesh DSouza is from India. Indians have a caste system. He is not from a high caste, so he calls himself a Catholic. That's what the British did with those lower caste Indians when they colonized India. They gave them an opportunity to get out of a lower caste by converting to Catholicism. So that is what he does. But what he is up against is the fact that he doesn't have a footprint here. His people didn't build America. They don't have any agency here. So he tries to latch on to the right wing in hopes that his hatred of black people will mirror their hatred of black people, and they won't see him for what he is, a dark-skinned Indian, where some suggest that he might be from a lower caste, even a Dalit. which is an untouchable. But that's what he looks like, the untouchables. He looks like he could be an untouchable. So I'm just saying, you gotta have a reason for coming up with this nonsense that you're doing, and black people haven't done anything to him. But at the end of the day, he's desperate. He is desperate to fit into white society, and he doesn't have the courage to be who he is. Rama Swami is from the Brahmin caste. That's the highest caste in India. It's also the caste that Kamala Harris is from. You might say they are the white people of India, but they are not white in America. So he has also hitched his wagon to the Republican Party and the right wing, even to the point that he has deluded himself into thinking that it's because he's a Hindu. Most white people don't know what his religion is. Hinduism is a religion. Most people don't see Hinduism when they see him. They see an Indian. They see a brown-skinned person. But they have so much disdain for their own ancestry that they will abandon who they are to try to assimilate into what somebody else is. And culture told Vivek Ramaswamy to his face that she wouldn't vote for him because he was an Indian. But then he switched it around when he was on a podcast talking to another Indian and decided that it was because he was a Hindu. That's what you call delusion, and that's what you call cowardice. That's what you call a person who doesn't have the courage to be who he is. So we get a lot of pushback from the Indians because they don't want to be in the black and brown coalition. Just like the Hispanics don't want to be in the black and brown coalition. Well, black Americans have never been in the black and brown coalition. We've always been in a black coalition. But the Democratic Party and other politicians try to throw those people in with us because they don't want them in with them. And if they force their way in with those white people, they pay a price. Because Ramaswamy, when he was running for president last year in Iowa, he had an accident. And they treated him like crap. The cop wouldn't even write the accident up right. They just made him like, we don't care if your car did get hit. We don't care what happened. And other racial slurs he has heard. But because they are so afraid they're going to be treated like black people, that they give up all of their dignity, trying to hold on or trying to latch on to being white. So that's why I entitled this video, The Difference Between Pride and Desperation. I see Reggie Jackson as representing pride and manhood and being who he is. He didn't try to downplay the racism that he has experienced. He spoke of it and he made it clear that he didn't like it and he would never go through it again. He said he would not go through it again. But these people are denying the real experiences that they're having because they don't have the courage to have pride in who they are. So anyway, we can complain about being black all we want to, but at least we have agency here, and many of us have the courage to be who we are. Okay, y'all, let me know what you think about this video. Thank you for listening. Subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, share the video, and as always, have a great day.